Hey, what's up everyone? So last video we talked about Reunion and the Warrior of Light deck that I took there. I lost my original video on this, so I've made changes since then. We'll talk about the deck as it is today, and we'll talk about some of the different iterations before Reunion, and some ideas I have for the future. So let's see where it goes. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Post in the comments. Roll that intro. All right, so we have the Warrior of Light deck here. I'm gonna go through the forwards first, as that's pretty much the core of the deck. Really the point of the war of this deck in particular is a lot of forwards and make them as big as they can and have your opponent deal with them. And then when they remove a forward, bring another one out and another one and another one. So yeah, so I'll go through it and we'll talk about the different pieces. But right now, first piece that we're gonna talk about is what a friend of mine likes to call the Power Rangers. I like to call it assembling Voltron, but these are your three pieces to the pumping everything else, right? Each one pumps each other and every other forward by 1K. So when you have all three out, you're pumping all of your forwards by 3K and each of them by 2K. Makes everything at least 9K or above. Makes it kind of a bit of a difficult situation for your opponent to deal with. I also have Sarah in the deck in the backups, and she'll pump everything up by 1 more K, but more importantly, she brings these guys out at 8K to start with, and then once you have another one out, it kind of helps protect them to get over that hump, because a lot of stuff can deal 7,000 damage. After that, I'm running 2 WOLs. It's just great value. It's 4 CP. You typically get a card because you're going to reveal the top 5, and half the deck is Warriors of Light. So you pull 1 Warrior of Light out of those 5 and put it in your hand. So really, you're paying 2 CP for a 7K forward, and then on top of that, your opponent doesn't typically want to block him, nor do they want to attack into him, because when he dies, he's going to bring out one of your 3 drops, which is really, these are your targets, right? So just great value. Makes for great pushes and kind of just makes your opponent think twice. The main heavy hitter though is right here, and this is the reason why I'm not running the water Refia. The light Refia, I think, makes this deck. First of all, you're paying 5 CP, and when she comes out, you search your deck for a 3-drop. You're looking for, specifically because it calls it by name, you're looking for one of these. And so she comes out, brings one of them out with her. She's automatically 9K, 10K if you have Sarah. And now you've got 2 forwards out in the field for the price of 5 CP. On top of that, once you have 4 Warriors of Light, she becomes really dangerous, because now whenever she attacks, she removes one of your opponent's forwards from the game. That's huge. Now, obviously, your opponents are going to try to answer her immediately when she comes out, so you've got to time it a little bit, and there are answers in the deck for that to help protect her. We'll get into that in a little bit later. Everything I've shown so far has pretty much been in this deck since its inception. I really can't think of changing anything there. The other piece here is the fire pieces, what really put Warriors of Light on the deck last year, and that's the Aegis Soul combo or Aegis Warrior of Light combo, and even just Warrior of Light on its own. The Aegis Soul combo is great. You're paying 4 CP, getting 2 forwards. Soul's gonna be at 7K, typically 8 or 9K immediately, has haste, and then Aegis is also giving Brave to all of your forwards. Brave, I think, is so important in this deck because it lets you put pressure on your opponent, constantly attacking, even if it's just with 1 or 2 forwards, and still leaving them up for defense. It really kind of puts that pressure on your opponent to figure something out. Warrior of Light is just awesome. You don't like to see him too early game. It's not horrible, but you want to really see him late game because that'll help you push for game. Giving 2K to the board, having haste himself is when you have 4 on the field, which isn't very tough in this deck. It's just great. I don't know how many times you have Refia at 3 forwards, or your opponent has just as many blockers as you do, and that haste comes in really handy, especially that plus 2K to help get over anything that could possibly be matching your opponent's, your forwards. So just a great piece. Like I said, everything there so far has been there since the inception of the deck. Haven't changed any of it. This last forward slot has changed quite a bit in its current inception. It's one of Dusk. It's nice to be able to draw a card if you have another Warrior of Light out, which you typically do. Also kind of nice to be able to sneak in some summons when your opponent doesn't think that you have the CP for it. Being able to cast a 3-drop summon by only pitching 1 card and Dulling Dusk is nice when they don't think that you can do it because you're tapped out on your backups. And then it kind of just goes great with the Brave. But yeah, he's also water CP to help me cast some of my water backups and stuff. So he often gets pitched. That used to be a Yasmat at Reunion. EX Burst, remove a 5k. If he's on the board for more than 1 turn, he's removing a 5k every, not a 5k, sorry, a 5 CP forward every turn, or lets me cast something and then reactivate my backups on my main, and right before main phase 1. It was a really good fit. 9 CP is a little expensive, even as a one of, and a little niche. So I've been playing around with that last forward slot. Right now it's Dusk. It helps fix the water CP in the deck a little bit, and is another Warrior of Light, so can't really complain. So with that, we'll go right into the backups. This has been the struggle of this deck. Really figuring out this deck, I think, is gonna be centered around the backups. So once the backups are completely figured out, I think this deck really will pop off. So obviously, with everything going on, Cosmos is key. It color fixes. Cosmos also lets you bring out WOL and Refia. It just helps tremendously. When Cosmos is out, things run smoothly. The other piece of this deck is Sarah. I mentioned her earlier. Getting that plus 1k makes a big difference, especially when you're trying to set up. So putting out one of your Power Rangers, or setting up Voltron, because they come out by themselves at 7k, Sarah making them an 8k helps them tremendously to stay alive a little bit longer until the other one comes out, and then now you've got 2 9ks on the board, and you're typically sitting pretty at that point. There's still a lot of stuff that'll hit 9k, but now your opponent's starting to spend some CP for it. So totally worth it. Also, one of the main reasons why I went to water in the backups, but I'll get into some of the other things that they help fix too, because you're constantly needing Cosmos out, and you can only really run a one of, because if you start running 2 or 3, now you're guaranteed to clog your hand in the future, unless you're running something like Citra, and then you're kind of getting away from the Warrior of Light engine. So I'm gonna keep that here because it's just so important. So in order to help either both get Cosmos and or fix your hand when you need to, I'm running 2 Artemisian. Artemisian's great because if you've looked at your first 5 cards, mollied that, looked at your second 5 cards, and you still haven't seen Cosmos, but at least you've seen Artemisian, you're feeling pretty good. You also typically want to go second with this deck because, again, your hand is so important, so having that extra card makes a big difference. So if you play second, you have Artemisian, you don't have Cosmos, and you don't really have a good startup, you can play Artemisian and then pitch. You pitch 1, play Artemisian, discard the 5, or if you have something good that you want to hold on to, 4, not discard, sorry, put them at the bottom of your deck, and then draw again. You've now gone through 17 cards in the deck. The chances of you finding something that you need is pretty high. Artemisian's great. Also later game, again, helps you fix your hand. I've had a couple times where I've had 3 Refias in hand, and I played an Artemisian, dropped 2 of them, put them in the bottom. I can search them out later if I need to, and then get stuff that I need. The other piece here is Moogle 11. It, again, helps me search my Cosmos. If I already have Cosmos, if I was fortunate enough to get Cosmos early, then I can special and find anything I need, anything that responds to my opponent and what their board state looks like. So the other piece here, actually let's keep going into the color correction, right? Because that's the other piece. You have forwards that are Earth, Wind, Fire, Water, Heart. No, I'm kidding. you have Warriors of Light tend to be in all the colors. So the other piece that helps me color fix if I don't have Cosmos is Charlotta. You can break her and basically produce 1 CP of any color. So I don't like to break her early, but if I need that color and it's gonna fix things going forward, or if I'm in a tight spot, she comes in really nice. You also notice that I think all of my backups here are 2 drops, which makes it easy for me to ramp up quickly. And that's important in this deck. Even though you're not super rush, you're not gonna kill your opponent in turn 4. You wanna set up your backups fairly quickly because you wanna be able to put out forwards and start putting that pressure on your opponent and prevent them from setting up. So that helps out there. Also, I like it because she can break herself if I need to for something very useful. And that gives me the spots that I need in my backup lineup to have the sticky backups that I need. So speaking of sticky backups and color fixing, that's where these Moogles come into play. Between these two Moogles, I get water, fire, wind, and earth. So that produces, I'm pretty sure, everything in the deck that I need. I'm not running lightning. So between these two, I can produce almost anything I need for the deck. And it's also even good, even if I have Cosmos out, it's nice to be able to produce 2 CP of fire, let's say, if I need it. If I have, let's say I want to do Aegis, Soul, and Warrior of Light to kind of push. It's nice to have the double ability to produce fire. So that's where these come in handy. And also, if I haven't seen Cosmos, these allow me to play the deck. Last piece here we're going to get into in the backups, Scholar. Scholar goes into what I was talking about with protecting your forwards. She comes in really handy, and it kind of cancels a lot of things that are kind of in play right now. So with the Rampier decks, Fusoya is, or even just Mono Lightning, Fusoya is a very common problem that a lot of these decks have to deal with because if they're paying 7, they're going to draw 2 cards, so they're really paying 3. And then they're going to deal typically 11. I've seen a lot of these Rampier decks lately are hitting for 10, 11K, 12K. They're running a lot of high cost forwards and backups so that they make sure that they hit Fusoya more often than they need to, more often than not. What's great about this is not only does it cancel so they don't break your forward, it goes back in your hand, but if they target, let's say, Refia, I break my backup, bring Refia back to my hand, and Fusoya completely fizzles. They don't even draw 2 cards. That is key because if they fizzle on Fusoya, they start to lose value quickly. Another piece to protect my forwards, and I'm going to pronounce this and it's going to be butchered, but it's going to be the best that I can do right now. It's Unsanagashi. Being able to just, same thing. Hey, you're going to target my Refia with Fusoya. Cool, not targetable. Now you don't get to draw. So you've paid 7 CP now for a 6K forward. Also saves me tremendously with a combo that I'll see a lot is Kane will come in, reduce one of my forwards by 8K, and then they'll target, they'll break Rampier, bring in Shantoto, target one of my other forwards, and then because that one breaks, it trickles down, and then, because it'll, like one of my Power Rangers will break, and then Refia will break because now she's brought down to that level. You stop that by just saying, nope, not targetable, cancel that, and now it's like, okay, now what? Because now neither of them go off. A lot of other stuff, it's just really, I think it's the best forward protection in the game that I could think of. That's not a summon. So just, I'm playing around with it. I added it recently. I've done a little bit of play testing and it's great. And then at damage 5, it's even better because then you can activate all your forwards and then it works instead of just protecting one forward, it protects all your forwards. So it lets me be aggressive if I don't have Aegis out, and then I can break this to activate them. So just great all around. I kind of love this card. I want to play more around with it and see how it works in the deck. But I feel really good about that. So because the backups are so important, I'm running Chocomog, which will let me search any of the Moogles that I have. Typically I'd be searching for either the water one that produces fire or the earth one that produces, the wind one that produces earth. That helps me with my color fixing. It gets me another backup into my back line. If I really am sticky, I can search for Artemisian and kind of go through that. So kind of just 2 of, it works out nicely. Again, something I'm testing. I haven't had a real chance to play this at locals. Our last locals got canceled for the holiday, and because we play on Mondays. So we'll see how that works. It's just a 2 of. Again, it's a little bit of just searching through the deck, getting what I need, adding a little bit more consistency. The other piece here, I'm playing 3 Leviathan since I'm playing water, and this kind of has the same idea as Scholar. You target one of my forwards, I can bounce my forward and and kind of and just protect myself and make your Fusoya fizzle or other things like that. And then on top of that, the other thing I like about Leviathan is that it's also good because if I'm pushing for game and the opponent left a forward up so they can block, or something they paid a lot for, like I think Arden is a good example, can't be broken, and so they feel pretty confident about leaving him up and just, you know, they're okay. They paid 7 CP for him, and you're like, all right, that's fine, can't be broken, right? Yeah, pop, back to your hand, and now I can swing for game. So a little versatile. Again, this is one of the more recent changes I made, and I kind of like it. I want to see more games with it with varied decks, and we'll see if this stays or not. Good opportunity to talk about what the deck looked like before. When I went to Reunion, I was playing much more Earth and Fire, so I was running 3 Titans, probably my favorite summon in the game. 3 Yojimbos, just because I don't have 3, you can't put 3 more Titans in the deck. And I was playing Mist Dragon. I do miss the Mist Dragon, but it just doesn't fit because now that I'm not running as much Earth, it didn't really fit in the summons lineup anymore. Titan and Yojimbo were great. They're basically kill spells. They're pay 5 or pay 4 to kill 2, because I'll do it either defensively when I'm blocking or offensively when I'm attacking and they're blocking me. Cool, I break the one that you're blocking with and break something else. It just felt great. And always on EX burst, it's a free kill. So I love them. I'm not running Earth as much anymore. And this also protects my forwards in different ways because there's a lot of straight removal from the game. Not removal from the game, removal in the game. So like straight break, and Leviathan can protect against that, whereas Titan and Yojimbo didn't. The last piece here is I was running Bismarck. I was kind of going down the same path here with Leviathan. Bismarck also lets me bounce one of my backups if I need to. So a lot of times people will try to break Sarah or Cosmos, and this would save me from that. I play tested it a little bit, not super happy with it. The fact that I can only target one of my characters doesn't give me that versatility that Leviathan does. I also figured that reducing the power by half would be something, but really I find that you're so big that you don't need to reduce the power of your opponent. So it hasn't really held its own weight. One of the easiest changes I think I'm gonna make to the deck is right here. I'm thinking I'm gonna change either these 3 into 3 Diabolos, which I also ran at Reunion, but I didn't find huge value, especially playing WOF. Where you're not seeing a lot of 5 CP or higher forwards except for Rain, which granted, obviously you want to break Rain, but it didn't work out. And maybe that's my inexperience. I don't play a lot of Wind, so I'm gonna put it back in the deck. It's a really powerful summon. I think it'll work. It'll also let me be aggressive because then I can swing with everyone if I don't have Aegis, and then just reactivate my forwards on when it's my opponent's turn to attack. So I think that's gonna be the easiest choice here. I'm also looking at making some other changes. I need to make the backups as efficient as possible. I used to run Thornton 7 at the tournament, and it felt great to be able to play Thornton, search for anything I needed. If I already had Cosmos out, there were a couple times where I searched Yasmat. There were a couple times where I'd search, these one-ofs, these techs that I'd put in the deck or something. If it EXs, it feels amazing for free. Go search anything you need in the deck to respond to your opponent's board state. Just great all-around card. It's 5 CP though, and I felt like my backups were a little slow. So we'll see how it goes. I may put Thornton back in. He's water, so he still fits the deck. And now that most of my backups are 2-drops, it might work out better. It might not be too slow. But yeah, that's the deck. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. If you have other ideas on how to get around running one of Cosmos, or just other ideas for the forwards or anything at all. If you don't like the deck, let me know. Let's talk about it in the comments. If you do like it, let me know. Then I can do better and I can continue to work on this. This will definitely be something I continue to work on. I want to perfect this deck, get it to a point where it's competitive. There'll be future iterations as the other opuses come out, but I'll also be working on some other decks. I have an FF7 deck that I worked on that I might show you guys soon, so we'll see where that's at. Let me know in the comments below too if there are other decks that you'd like me to build, or other decks that you suggest. So until then, have fun, stay awesome.